What's up, trade crew? Welcome back to the HVAC R&D podcast, and this show is a bonus drop of an audio-only version of a recent appearance I made on Commercial Kitchen Chronicles with their hosts Pat Finley and Jason Latimer. We talked shop, shared some laughs, broke down life in HVAC, so let's get it, y'all. From the beginning of this show, I've always said that the trades industry is built on great people with great stories, and I want the trade crew to hear yours. Whether you're in the field turning a wrench or running duct, building a trades empire from your office, working the distribution counter, grinding a sales territory, repping or working for a manufacturer, or anywhere in between, HVAC R&D is the show about the power of conversation, collaboration over competition, and sharing real conversations from every corner of the trades community. And if you've got a story to tell, then I've got a microphone ready for you. So when you're ready, go check out the links to the HVAC R&D podcast questionnaire that are on all social media channels and on the website, and get in touch with me about joining an episode of the show. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for sharing some time with me. If you're coming back show after show, thank you for helping me continue to make this dream of highlighting our trades a reality. Please make sure to smash the like and subscribe buttons on any and all streaming and social platforms where you follow the show, and please share with your friends and trade crew. If you aren't following the show, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at hvac.rnd, and on LinkedIn, Facebook, and TradeHounds as the HVAC R&D podcast. Please make sure to go check out hvacrnd.com and visit the swag shop for some cool merch and some Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice, and then check out the vendor hub for discounts on BetterHelp, Chirp, Service Titan, and my newest partner, SkillCat. So like I said in the intro, this is a special bonus drop. You're about to hear the audio-only replay of my guest appearance on Commercial Kitchen Chronicles with two heavy hitters in the food service world, Mr. Jason Latimer, the Director of Facilities for Fresh Kitchen out of Tampa, Florida, and the one, the only Pat Finley, who was most recently named one of ESCO Institute's 2026 Top 25 Most Influential Educators and Trainers in the industry. Pat has also been a key figure behind the CFESA Top Tech Throwdown, which launches early next year. So we dove deep into some shared grind between HVAC and commercial kitchen work. So kick back, enjoy this behind-the-scenes shop talk from two worlds that run hotter than a fryer on Friday night. Over to you, Pat.
What's up, everybody? Wow, that was terrible. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. I am joined by co-host Jason Latimer. We have a very special guest, Rhydon Atzenhoffer, HVAC R&D. You guys may recognize his face, and he's back on. And let me get this cough out of the way. I chose to smoke a cigar, and it probably was the best bet tonight. So, what's going on, everybody? But first, I got a quick ad read from our friends over at Viper from Refrigeration Technologies. Viper from Refrigeration Technologies is a secret weapon every tech should have in their pack. Safe, powerful, and engineered by real HVACR pros. Viper chemicals cut through grease, grime, and gunk without beating up your coils or your lungs. When jobs get nasty, reach for the green stuff that actually works. Viper, get in, get out, and get it cleaned right the first time. So what is going on, everybody?
Hey,
up?
Welcome,
Thanks,
man.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. I'm excited. I don't normally do a live show, so let's see if I can embarrass myself really well for you guys.
Keep doing what we've done in the past. We've only had one episode we had to pull down.
I hope I won't cause that, but you know.
No, that was a wild
Cheers
one.
to the hitchhiker, everybody. If you've listened to the show, you know what I'm drinking.
Yeah, Modelo time. I am drinking a hard AF seltzer, 8% green apple.
Nice.
They're pretty good. I can't get them here, so every time I travel down to your neck of the woods, I stop at like every liquor store in Ohio till I find them, and then I buy them out.
We should, if we had to take a drink for the amount of times we've been to each other's neck of the woods and not gotten to get together, we would be hammered before this show started.
Yeah, it happens. When I go to CFESA, generally it's on a schedule, and they're trying to get their money's worth out of me, and I don't get to hang out much. The first few times I had some extra time, we did meet up and have dinner and hang out with you and the missus, and that was a good time.
Yep, we did.
So for you guys that don't know, what you got?
Ooh, what do you got, sir?
We
In the
got a
snifter.
Woodford Reserve Double Oak.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Very
one.
nice.
Good one.
I just I tried a 10-cup 14er that my wife had bought me last year. I finally opened it for Thanksgiving, and it is fantastic.
Oh man, sounds delicious.
Nice. That sounds good. I did the Bourbon Trail a couple weeks ago and spent entirely too much money, and I've
It's
got
hard not to.
entirely too many bottles now. It was fun, so it was cool. So.
I don't know if anybody can rival HVAC J's amount of bourbon bottles that he's got stashed away in that cool cabinet of his.
I don't know. Jason's buddy David Jones had a shelf, had like an 8-foot shelf, and then he had boxes in the closet. It was, yeah. He's from Kentucky, so he's all about it, and no bones about it, man. And it's wild down in Florida because you can find the good stuff at like the grocery store.
Oh yeah, you can get it at Publix, Walmart, Winn-Dixie, allocated, delicious, and always at retail price. So it's nice.
That's wild. That is wild.
I remember seeing that in Louisiana when I was a kid. When we'd go back and go fishing with my dad, I always was like, it's not in our stores like this at home, Dad. What is this stuff? I don't remember seeing this before. It's like 9-year-old trying to figure out what the liquor aisle was.
You were in Florida?
No, so my dad was born and raised in New Orleans. My dad was born and raised in New Orleans, so we had a fishing camp. We'd go fish every year, twice a year when I was a kid till I was about 16, and the hurricanes destroyed it. But a lot of good memories were spent fishing in the Gulf. Well, really in the marshes right outside the Gulf.
Nice. That'd be fun. So for you guys who don't know Rhydon, he is the host of HVAC R&D. He's on all social media, and let's get right into it. You work for a distributor, correct?
So I work in distribution. I was born and raised in the mountains of North Carolina. My dad was a heating contractor, still is. He's 84 and does this every single day. He would not know what to do if he retired. And I worked my way through high school, through college. I paid for college, working in the field 3 days a week, running sales calls, running project management for him when I could. And then when I got out of college, I moved into distribution, which I started with a broom in my hand in Greenville, South Carolina, and worked my way up the chains until I could get into sales. And I've been in one version of outside sales or even in division management for the last almost 16 years now.
Nice. That's a pretty cool jump. I mean, starting working with your dad, that's probably – I never worked with my dad, but my kids work with me, and I imagine it's probably pretty rough on them. And today I was pretty mean to my son today. He was catching a little ass. I threw some parts at him and walked away. And the customer kind of gave me a look, and I was like, "It's my son." And he's like, "Okay."
Well, and I remember, I'd be in a work truck when I was little, and I was always he would use me as the distraction from time to time. He'd say, "Hey, go talk to that customer and keep him out of my way," is kind of how it got used from time to time. But when we'd get back in the truck and he'd start talking to me about the situation or the people, he's like, "Well, what did you think about that person? Or what did you think about the situation you were in?" And he would do that from when I was really, really young. So he always was trying to mold some form of, social intelligence and be able to read the room, see what I was doing, kind of understand how people interacted. And I feel like that's given me, in some ways, it kind of gave me a leg up when I got into sales even younger, because I was already thinking differently than most people probably do. Because most people, when they just go into sales straight out of college, and if they've not been in any situations like that, they're not always looking for the differences or paying attention to the things maybe they should. So that social intelligence has really paid off in a lot of ways. So I'm very grateful that he did that for many, many years.
That's great. I mean, anytime that you're applying anything outside of theory, that's all school is. It's theory to get your legs under you. So to have that real world, what do you call it? Critical thinking is the situation he puts you in. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. we're big fans of how you interact with people, and I think sometimes that plays a bigger role in our industry, HVAC industry, any industry, more than actually fixing stuff. Because you can be the greatest tech in the world, but if you can't talk to that customer thinks you're an asshole. They don't want to deal with you. They don't care if you fix their stuff. I mean, how you interact with people is more important than I think how you actually fix stuff some days.
In a lot of ways, yeah, it really is. Because people will remember how they're treated way more quickly than they'll always remember if you fix it perfectly the first time. Because it's just the experience, and every time, you're always going to get 9 negative reviews versus the 1 positive one. So the more you can do to try to keep people on the positive side to refer you to people, the better.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what does your day-to-day job entail?
That's a good question. It varies from day to day. So where I am now, I'm an account executive, and my primary role really is focused heavily on new business. I've been a lot of things in sales for distribution. People are either territory managers or they're account managers, area managers, things like that. So the way the account exec role is here, it's meant to go and cultivate business. And then we also have additional sales development reps that we work with that I'll be co-assigned to an account with. So I may work an account for 4 or 5 months. And once it gets to the point that they're going to commit and they're going to buy from us, then I start building kind of that next tier of support so that I can have someone that can be in front of a computer most of the day that's there to help with day-to-day stuff. But, 90% of my time, I'm behind a steering wheel. I'm really not in behind a computer as much now as I used to be. So it could be cold calls. It can be scheduled calls. It just depends on what I need to do that day. But it's all about, customer service, customer support, and building to the next sale, building to the next relationship, and seeing how you can develop and cultivate a territory.
That's a really good
And what's the main product you're selling?
So the main equipment product now is Carrier and Bryant.
Nice. So if you get customers, once you have them committed to purchasing a certain amount of equipment, you tailor customer service and customer support and resources for them with someone in front of a computer that can handle anything to do with warranty or processing claims. Okay. And is that just between you and the manufacturer, or are you guys actually doing troubleshooting, customer technical support?
So we have customer tech support. That's a whole other layer of support for us. So we have in-house tech support, and then we have, like I said, we have sales development reps that are also work hand in hand. A lot of people that are sales development reps now have also been account managers in the past. They may just be to a point they don't want to travel as much as they did before, so they spend a bit more time in front of a computer. If someone's calling me, to place an order or to do certain different things that if I'm driving I can't do, then, I'll be like, hey, call Josh, hey, call Lisa, because we've got a whole different group of SDRs that I'll work with a sales development manager to help see, depending on territory-wise, who gets assigned to them. And there's certain people that I have a lot of joint accounts with, and there's other people that I'm building joint accounts with. I've got a guy up in Asheville that he and I probably work about 60% of my accounts together, because I cover a lot of Western North Carolina and then some of Eastern North Carolina. This episode of the HVAC R&D podcast is brought to you by DiversiTech, the one-stop source for contractors who want to simplify every job. Whether you're stocking up on install supplies, service parts, thermostats, controls, or digging into the legendary tool line from Hillmore, DiversiTech has you covered. They're not just a parts supplier. They help build solutions for HVAC pros, offering pads, condensate management gear, electrical parts, replacement components, premium tools that make install, service calls, and maintenance faster, cleaner, and more professional. Partnering with DiversiTech means fewer trips back to the supply house, more time on the job, and less chance of callbacks because you're using the right gear from the start. If you want to work smarter, stay stocked up, and show up for every job ready, DiversiTech is the trade pro's best friend.
Nice. So you're based out of the Charlotte area still, correct?
Yep. So I live in Concord, which if you know where Charlotte Motor Speedway is, it's actually in Concord. It's not in Charlotte. But it is the home of NASCAR is between Concord and Mooresville, North Carolina. Almost every team is right around in there.
Nice. Spend much time at the track?
So we went to the Roval 400 back in October. It was probably one of the best races I've been to in a while. Really good, lots of action. It was cool to see SVG win his 5th road course in a season. I think that helped him win Rookie of the Year. I grew up. I was a huge Dale Jr. fan. My wife was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan, which we live right around the corner from Dale Earnhardt Boulevard in Kannapolis. Since he was from here, the place I used to work, we actually did business with Dale Jr.'s brother. He would come in every now and then, buy a capacitor or buy something this and there, and he'd be going and fixing it. Even though he's a driver too, but they're always tinkering, doing something.
That's cool. What did you think of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
It was awesome. I wish I could have seen a little bit more of. I think they were running Indy Lights practice when I went to the museum. So Jason, I went up to Indianapolis to the Carrier plant about a little over a month and a half ago, right at the end of October, and I took a couple of customers to the Indy Racing Museum that was right there. And they were running Indy Lights while we were in the museum. But that's one of the coolest museums I've ever been to. They really did a good job in there.
Nice. Yeah, that whole area is like, it's really tourist driven. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff there for tourists to do. To get the museum, you have the golf course, you have the track itself. I was there. I ran an overtime call probably 4 weeks ago at the track, and they had McLaren had a paddock there. They were doing like McLarens, like I forget the actual series was they were racing, but it was like Corvettes, McLarens, BMWs, all kinds of just supercars. And they were running the road course. I'm driving like around inside the infield, and like all of a sudden there's like doing like 150 just blow by me. I'm like, what in the world was that? It was a pretty cool experience.
Well, and talking about road courses, they just built almost what looks like a private road course here in Charlotte. I'm pretty sure Rick Hendrick had something to do with it. But anytime they have car shows, a lot of times you'll see everybody in their Ferraris and their GT Porsches and everything are out running around on that thing. You can't really see as much of it as you can some of the other tracks because they've put up a lot of fencing around it, but they're continuing to just build everything around the Motor Speedway to be this massive just racing complex between the drag strip and the dirt track and everything else.
Yeah, you know, you're in the home of NASCAR. I'm in the home of IndyCar. And like, you should see these buildings around here. My son was working at he's like, I don't know what this place is. But he's like, there's millions of dollars of cars. He's like, and they're stacked up the walls like 6 high. He sent me this video, and I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm at this place called Wheelhouse Social Club. It's a private club. I was like, dude, that's owned by Graham Rahal and his wife, Force, because he's married to Force. What's her name? Last name Force, the drag racer. I'm like, you don't know where you're at? He goes, no. I was like, dude, you were surrounded by like some of the probably coolest cars that are out there right now. I said,
I'm sure.
I said, right across the street is their race, like where they build race cars, their Rahal Letterman, complex. I was like, you're like surrounded by like all kinds of stuff, and you have no idea where you're even at, dude. I was like, you're not going back. If you have to go back, I'm going back.
Right.
You can't appreciate this.
Like, sent me a video trying to be a smart aleck, and I was like, dude, you have no idea where you're at, dude. It was pretty cool to see, though. But there's all kinds of stuff like that. Occasionally, I'll get to work on some, they call them hospitality trailers, and all it is like a big galley kitchen in a trailer. And I'll have to go in there and fix stuff. And like, you have to have this fixed by Wednesday because they leave Wednesday night for wherever. It's a 2-day drive. I'm like, I'll try my best. I'm like,
yeah. It's like, hopefully I can find the part somewhere if it's not something I can fix off the truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't care, dude. It's wild. It's a pretty cool city. There's always stuff going on, and it's definitely a race car centered stuff. And it's fun.
Well, and I'd never been to Indianapolis, so it was my first time to go through the city. So we did the race museum on Sunday, and then we had tickets to a Colts game that evening. So that was fun to go see, which it was, what is it? The Salute to Service weekend. So we got to see him unroll the giant American flag. That was cool.
Oh, that's dope.
Were you in the carrier? I'm sure they have a box.
They do. They do. So I was in the carrier box.
Yeah, I see your pictures. I was like, oh, he's got some pretty good seats.
Not too shabby, I will say. They did that one right.
Yeah, we do some work in the stadium there. It's pretty cool to work in there, unless you get there and like no one knows what you're there to work on. They're like, oh, like I'm here to work on a cake cooler. Like, well, we have 10. Which one is it? I was like, I don't know. You didn't tell me. They called
Cake
it in.
cooler 5. Where's that one at?
The one not temping.
Yeah, the one that's not working right now.
It
The
was
one
like,
with the foamy beer.
well, glycol, and well, I was like, it's one of the keg coolers, and they said it feeds this one. So they took me down to this room, and it's just full of like glycol line coolers that run along the beer up the walls and stuff. And they open the door, and there's like 20 glycol systems there, and they're all hooked up to the chiller. So there's no air movement in here. You're like, it just smells terrible. I'm like, which one is it? And they're like, well, we have 3 of them down. I'm like, I'm gonna find a serial number. I'm gonna fix the one I'm supposed to fix. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. The yeast infection in your nose. Goodness.
Yeah. So HVAC R&D, it's a pretty cool podcast. I've been a guest on there a few years back. Go look at that episode. But it's a pretty cool podcast. You know, what made you decide that you wanted to start a podcast?
Some of it came out of boredom in a way. But really it was the height of COVID. I was an outside sales rep. A lot of people know, obviously I had a partner in the beginning. But I've been on my own the last couple of years. But it was really fueled by, I'm an outside sales guy and I'm used to spending my time with customers. And really, when you've done this job long enough, most of your best friends are your customers too. I mean, they're who you're with the majority of your time. And, I just hated the fact that, when I'm locked in an office, which I could not stand, it's the last thing you want to be when you're used to being on the road and outside all day is locked in 4 walls with no window.
I don't know how
Related to that.
I don't know how he made that jump. I was like, you're crazy, dude. You're not going to be able to go to an office. I don't know how you.
I'll tell you how I do it. I take my laptop and I jump in my truck and I work out of my truck.
Yeah. And I mean, the office obviously is a necessary evil, right? No matter what we do. But it was, I couldn't go and see and hang out with the people I was used to seeing and hanging out with. So how could I find another way to reach them? And podcasts were starting to get big. Most of them were still all audio only at the time, which is what I still am. I guess I'm just the old school podcast guy. But I wanted to have a show that guys could listen to on a Friday night when they're driving home, or they could sit on a weekend and crack a beer. They could get a few laughs. They could maybe get a tech tip. They could learn a bit more how distribution works. And it was really meant to kind of be, initially, it was HVAC, beer, and bullshit. That was really what it was meant to be. It was meant to be a good time. And I thought, in a lot of ways, being an audio-only show, I never wanted a guy trying to watch the show on a Friday driving home. I'd rather be able to just listen to it, not need a video aid or something like that. Because the last thing you want is a guy listening to your show and he crashes the work truck on a Friday afternoon. You don't want that shit. So, I felt like being able to have a show that you could just listen to and engage with, but still be able to do what you're doing made sense. Because a lot of how I really got into podcasts was I was stuck in an office and I'm sitting there like, I'm going to be working and doing stuff, so I can't just sit there and watch it. But if I've got something to listen to, it was something else that helped you get through the day. And that's really kind of how it came to be. And, a lot of the initial work for it was really through kind of August of 2020. And then the show launched the middle of November in 2020. So it just hit 5 years, which is crazy to think that I've done it this long already. But, now it's my biggest thing the last couple of months is what can I do to make something even better or do more with it the next 5? So I've really been trying to focus on developing sponsorships, developing relationships, and starting to figure out what are the things I can add to the show. It's hard to go immediately to all video, which I really like the setup of StreamYard. I've never used it, never really seen it. But I like the way it lets you set it up. I've always used a program called Zencaster, which in the beginning was an audio only platform. They've added video and some other things, but it's still just, I still just struggle shying away completely from what the original identity of the show was.
Yeah, when I first started, I tried to like do some visual stuff, and I realized like the audio listener just kind of gets left out. They don't see it, so we do this as a way just so we can see each other and talk, but it's still mainly focused on audio side of it. And that's just, podcast is meant to be listened to, and everybody does video now. Spotify, you can watch video podcasts on Spotify.
Yep.
YouTube, everything. But we do this, and I leave the live stream up. I never pull it back down. It's easier for me to record from this, but I leave it up, because some people just like the video side of it. If you want to watch it on video, you can watch it on video. If you wait till Friday morning, it's out on audio. It's your choice. I just give everybody the chance to do whatever they want.
Yep.
It's fun though. I like doing it. I like talking to people. I've met a lot of cool people. Met you. I've met Jason because of this, Rich because of this. And it's really changed my life. It's become more of a passion project than I used to call it a second full-time job, but it's really just more of a passion project. I enjoy doing it, and it's fun. And I'm not gonna lie, there's some days I hate doing it because I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm grumpy. I'm a little grumpy today, to be honest, but we all have those days.
Well, and I think where my struggle has been at times is, I'm gassed by the end of the day, and then sometimes it's hard to try to do this at night and do some other things. And from time to time, especially if I'm traveling, I've had to travel a whole lot more the last 7 months because I've had such a bigger sales territory. If you're going 4 hours from home and to stay a night or two, like you're not taking your rig to go record down, where you are for 3 or 4 days if you've got to be somewhere. So there's been some months where I didn't get as many shows out as I wanted to this year. I've been working to try to even start, maybe I'll batch a couple the same day so that then I can release them throughout a month to try to stack them up, because that's really the only way to do it. It gets hard to try to do everything at night sometimes. And, my wife, God love her, has put up with me building a career for many, many years. I mean, when we moved to Greenville originally, we were babies. I mean, I was fresh out of college. She was a freshman in college. We were broke as a joke. We were trying to figure out how to live on like $30 a week and eat, because you didn't make shit as a management trainee, and she was trying to go to school when she could, before she started working some. And it just, she put so much on the back burner for so many years. And then, I got into this, and then I was still taking a couple nights a week away. And I said, sometimes dude, you got to stop. It's like we've been married for 12 years, but she's put so much aside that, it's not always fair to her for me to spend every night trying to do this. So I've tried really hard to be more conscientious of what it means to even, our relationship too. And she's always been super supportive. You see her anywhere we go, she's always there to back me up. So it's just, I've really tried to make sure that doing this show is done the right way, and it's more supportive of us as well as just me having a hobby too. Since 1961, JP Lamborn Company has been the name behind some of the best flexible duct products in the business. A third-generation family-owned company that built its legacy on integrity, innovation, and service. That same spirit drives them today, with antimicrobial technology, top-tier materials, and a relentless focus on quality. When contractors need a product they can stand behind, JPL delivers. It's more than just flex duct, it's peace of mind. JPL, the name you know, the quality you trust, and the flex that delivers.
That's considerate and respectful. That's
the best part of having a wife tags along is you get a built-in photographer.
Right? Granted, most people would rather take a picture of her than me.
The dogs. I love the dogs. The dog pictures all the time and the videos of the dogs. Don't get him up.
I don't know where mine went to. He was up here somewhere.
Don't bark. Don't do it. That's funny.
Maybe he's laying down, but
so AHR is coming right around the corner. I think 2 months from Monday or something.
Yep.
It's
countdown is on.
It's going to be here before you know it. I've got a couple shows there. You got a couple shows you're recording? Anything?
Yep, I've got shows at 11 o'clock Monday and Tuesday. I've got.
So you're right after me?
Yep.
Right
so
after
I'm right after you on Monday, definitely. So I think Jessica's recording with me Monday, which I've done stuff for RLS, but I've not ever done a show with anybody from them. So Jessica's coming on the show, and then I've got a guy from Hardy is going to be on the show with me Tuesday, which if a lot of people don't know what Hardy is, it is a massive organization for distribution. And really, you're the original kitchen podcast. I don't really know many other people that do a lot of kitchen stuff. I don't know. Part of the reason I wanted to do this was because there was no one from the distribution perspective. Everybody was a contractor or they were a rep, but there was nobody from that. I hate to say it. Distribution's the middleman. No matter what we do or say, we end up being the middleman. But there's no one that was doing it from this perspective. So I feel like that's always been some of the advantage of my show. Is it's a different viewpoint, but the fact that I came from the contracting side kind of allows me to talk some of both ways. And I'm pretty far removed from the field. I mean, it's been 16 years since I was truly turning a wrench, but I still know what it's like to get in a work truck and get in the attic and get in a crawl space that you sure as hell did not want to get into. I got plenty of those stories just like everybody else does. So, and that's also always been, an asset for me dealing with contractors on a day-to-day basis, is because I know what their life is like. A lot of the reason I got into distribution was because there were a couple of really old school sales reps that were really good to my dad and I. And there were plenty that weren't, but I wanted to go and be the sales rep that I wish I could always have had. Because I don't feel like there's enough people that get into distribution or really get into sales anymore that actually give a shit about the contractor. And some people won't like that opinion, but distribution's changed a lot. It's not the same as it used to be. And I think it's really important that we do a good job to actually be there for the contractor, because not enough people do it anymore.
Hey, Rhydon. With that being said, I would say that it rolls downhill. So when the contractor is not being treated well because they don't treat the customer well, unfortunately.
Yep. And because it's frustration. It boils over from every different angle.
Yeah. I have contractors just profusely apologizing about certain prices, and they even share the prices, and a lot of it's just gone up, and the quality's gone down, and the service has gone down. And I get it. There's so many moving parts. As somebody who deals with approving a lot of equipment, whether it's refrigeration or HVAC, I track this stuff. I'm more than interested in tracking the numbers and seeing how it goes. But I've seen the change over the years, and because the relationship isn't with the distributor, it's with that contractor. So. Yeah. And if you have a good contractor and they're telling you, hey, I'm not sticking this to you, I want a long-term relationship. This is not me. I believe them, if you have that relationship. And then where you say there are some contractors that don't treat you well, everybody has a different story and whatnot. So, but yeah, I've had that as well.
Well, and you see it, you truly do see it both ways. Like you say, you talk about a contractor doesn't treat distribution well. I'll be honest. When I was younger, I would take a lot of shit from contractors because when I was young, I didn't feel like I'd earned, my stripes yet. But I'll fire a customer now and not have a second thought about it, because my time is just as valuable as yours. And if you can't treat me as an equal in this situation, it's like you need something out of this relationship. You need someone to bring value to you. Well, I also need a contractor that will be open and honest, and we can have true dialogue. And if shit hits the fan, we can talk about it. And there's plenty of times, I've had the contractor call me and just unload it, and I'll let him run. Just yep. F-bomb stew, everything else. And then it's almost like, all right, you done? Can we have a conversation and get to the root of the problem, and now we can fix it? It's like everyone gets frustrated, man, but it's like, I can't help you if the only thing you are is frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
You can call and you can yell at me. You can do what you got to do. I got broad shoulders. I can take it. But there comes a point, I can't help solve a problem for you if you can't get to what the problem was. You're just
so
mad.
Rhydon, what are some of the problems? Name a basic or the most popular one that might have them going sideways. Like, was there a drop the ball where there was left off the unit?
Something left off an order. They're doing a change out for Mrs. Jones. Order gets dropped off at the shop, gets accepted. Then the guys loaded on the truck. They get out to the job and they realize, oh, we're missing this. Now, some of that could be on my guys. Some of it could also be on the guy unloading from my truck. Check your orders too. We're not perfect. I hate to say it. I wish we could be perfect 100% of the time, but we're all human. And there's a chance we can make a mistake. And if we make a mistake, I'm the first one. I'll go run and put it in the truck and I'll take it to you if that's what it takes to get the thing fixed, or I'll find someone that can go and do it. But then there's also, it's delivery stuff, or it's, you had a unit, it's been in 6 months and something broke, compressor shot. Don't know what happened. It's either shorted to ground or something. I would say 90% of the time, probably 95% of the time, if you're going to have an issue with a piece of equipment, it's in the first year. Mm-hmm. Like well and truly. And, the thing is, if I've got a contractor that he and I have a good relationship, and me and him and tech support have a good relationship, and our tech support guys know they do work the right way, I know they do work the right way. They don't cut corners. They braze with nitrogen. They do things right. And they've got a problem, we're going to do everything we can to try to find a solution and help you. I've replaced systems more times than I can count because it was the right thing to do. It doesn't always mean it was the easy thing to do, but it was the right thing to do.
It didn't feel good.
And it didn't feel good for nobody because we all took a haircut. But, sometimes you got to do the right thing by the contractor, and when you do that, you hope that the contractor can in turn do the right thing by you as a distributor. Now, if I've got a guy that's, never really buys from us, he pays us, he drags us out 60, 90 days, doesn't want to pay us. And then he calls me all of a sudden with a headache for something that more than likely it may or may not be our fault. It's a little harder to get the backing and the support to fix some of those issues. It all comes down to a relationship and treat each other equally in a partnership and do the right thing by one another.
So what can the technicians do to help build a better relationship with, suppliers and people like you? I know you try everything you can to make sure technicians and contractors are taken care of, but what can they do to help build that relationship with you?
I'm sorry, Pat, I couldn't quite understand the last part of the question. It was breaking up really bad.
Sorry. What can the contractors do to help build that relationship with you to make it better for you and them mutually?
A lot of it is, we got to sit down and talk. We got to know each other. I need to know your guys. Let me come in for a team meeting when you're doing it. Let me bring them breakfast. Let's all hang out. Let's talk. If you've got issues that you're seeing in the field, or you've got things you need to tell somebody, tell me. Mm-hmm. Then I can take it up the chain. I can talk to tech support. I can talk to different people. We can find ways around problems. The other thing too is go to training. Learn, because stuff changes, and no matter how much I try to study or read, I can't keep up with how fast everything changes either.
Oh man, things have changed so much in the last few years.
Yeah, it's insane how fast everything changes in our industry. When I first started doing this, I never thought things would go now. And the comfort cooling side is even crazier. You got communicating systems, variable speed compressors. You got all kinds of crazy stuff just to keep a house cool. It's wild. Am I cutting out?
There we go. Now you're back. Yeah, bad. Really bad.
Oh, that's weird. No, what I said was, everything's changing so fast, and all of our industries. We're kind of centered towards restaurants, but on the residential and commercial side, like the residential side is wild. Communicating systems, variable speed compressors, like variable speed fans. I mean, it's crazy out there.
Dang it.
I can still hear you.
I think you were saying like a lot of things continue to just change really, really fast, like going to different styles of compressors, especially going to inverters and variable speed. I wish more guys would embrace inverter technology because it's where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
There's no stopping it. That's the way this industry is going. And that's not me saying that there's not a place for single stage and two stage and multi-stage equipment. There's certain applications for every type of equipment. It's about, learning what makes the most sense for the job or the homeowner or the business owner. But I think, the biggest way for us to really help guys be ready for what's coming is, like I said, just go to training, pay attention to what the industry is doing. And, guy used to be on the show all the time. He, talked about the fact that, guys in the field get lucky a lot. And unfortunately, that can sometimes it can set bad precedents for what you think a problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There may be a lot of things that were truly diagnosed wrong that got fixed, but did it really get fixed? Not really 100%. So a lot of it's about education and seeing what's coming next and learning how to embrace it and move it into your company and look forward. Because homeowners now can look up anything.
Mm-hmm.
We do it. We work hard to try to keep as much stuff, specifically to the contractor as possible, but it's the internet, dude. Someone's going to find it somewhere. What's up, trade crew? I'd like to introduce you to True Nature Meats Company, one of the newest ambassador sponsors of the HVAC R&D podcast. And they're the crew bringing real deal, fully cooked, ready to heat specialty meats straight to your door. And they've hooked up the trade crew with an exclusive 40% off deal on one of two incredible sample boxes. The first box comes with 1 pound each of sirloin steak, buffalo chicken, Carolina chicken thighs, and Mediterranean chicken. Or you can go with box option number 2 and get 1 pound each of Texas smoked brisket, pollo asado chicken, Hawaiian Kahlua pulled pork, and southern barbecue chicken. 4 pounds of meticulously seasoned, slow cooked to perfection, just heat, eat, and repeat meat. And with this special HVAC R&D offer, it's only $48 with shipping included. So treat yourself after a long day in the field. Go grab your box at True Nature Meats Company. Make sure to use discount code HVAC40, HVAC40 for 40% off your order today. You can find the link in the podcast description down below, or you can click on the discounts and promos link on all social media platforms. You can also visit hvacrnd.com, go to the vendor hub, and find it that way as well. Thanks for listening, trade crew, and go get that meat.
Yeah, that's a good point. All these stuff we work on is password protected and stuff. And then like you go in the restaurant and someone's changed the password. I'm like, well, how'd you get that? Oh, I Googled it. It was on YouTube. I'm like, thanks. No, I can't get in it. So,
Rhydon, do you only deal with contractors, middlemen before the customer, or do you deal directly with facilities and businesses that want to buy in bulk or anything like that?
It depends on the situation. The company I was at before was a manufacturer's rep as well as a distributor, so we kind of did a lot of both.
Okay.
Where I am now, we're primarily distribution. A lot of my focus is more residential, light commercial. I'll change out a group of rooftops. I don't get quite as much into, fans and other stuff that I have in the past. And a lot of times when you're dealing with that stuff, you're dealing more directly with engineers. I don't have the kind of dealings with engineers and straight to facilities leaders as I used to. But I still have those moments. I've got guys that work in the school systems. I've got guys that work in, local municipalities that do different things that all help from time to time, depending on what it is. but I don't deal quite straight directly with owners as much as I used to.
Gotcha. Light commercial, what, up to 15, 25 ton?
So we have a charter. We can do 60 tons and down.
Okay.
With Carrier now, but we don't do chillers. We don't do anything like that. All that goes through Carrier Applied. But rooftop splits, stuff like that, unless it's especially for retrofit situations when we're changing stuff out that doesn't need engineered plans the way it did maybe when it was originally being built. A lot of that is more my bread and butter now than before.
Yeah. Swap outs.
A lot of change outs. I submitted to get a quote done for a couple of 10 tons today on a rooftop. And that's really where my focus is now, as opposed to where it had been before. But, I've got a place in Chapel Hill that's got a 30 ton and a 10 ton that's going to get changed out. And then I've got some plan and spec stuff here and there, not as much as I used to. I used to do a lot of multifamily stuff as well before too. I've done, in a lot of cases, you name it, I've about done a good bit of it at one point or another in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, that's interesting. So where do you see, how long have you been in the actual field you're in, and where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years?
Do you say in terms of in the field or where I am now?
Just career-wise, aside from the podcasting, where do you see your progression? I mean, you're already an executive. Do you see yourself doing this same thing for the next 5, 10, 15 years, or do you see some sort of I can't even say progression from where you are into something else, similar, same industry, higher up the ladder?
I've been thinking a lot about that in the last couple of months. One, because I'm almost 40. I'm almost at midlife crisis time to really decide if it's what's going to happen next.
It's coming.
It's coming. I love distribution because I love being able to build relationships with multiple contractors. And I like being able to help guys figure out ways to do the things in their business they want to do. There's a lot of guys that spend way too much time working in their business as opposed to working on their business.
I like that.
And
get that.
Which I say that like I'm a word of the wise, but if you read a book called E-Myth Mastery, there's actually a version of it that's specifically for trades guys too. There's a lot of gold in that book. And a lot of things that it talks about is working on your business, not in it. You didn't start a business to be a contractor to create yourself a job.
Yeah.
If all you did was create yourself a job, you could have just went and got one. You got into this because you wanted to build a life and build a career. So find a way to work on it. Don't let the business run you, run your business. And sometimes it takes a lot of hard lessons to figure out. Could I see myself at some point getting into consulting? Maybe. Have I thought about going back to the contractor side and working for a contractor? I've thought about it. I don't know. I'm never not going to listen to a good option. I mean, no one can be closed off to talking about things.
Yeah, you ever see yourself in ownership, business ownership at all?
Heck, I couldn't understand you on that one either. It keeps breaking up so bad, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're all right.
No worries.
My internet's being terrible. It was the whole house. I thought it was just me, so I'm back. But no, he asked if you ever considered going into ownership, if you want to be own a contracting business or maybe a consulting business.
I've thought about both. I've definitely thought about both. No offense to working in distribution the way I work in it. Have I thought about what it would be like to build my own distribution company? Sure. If if there's a single distribution person that says they hadn't thought about what it would be like to run their own distributor, they're all lying to you. At some point, we all thought about it. And I think some of that's just because all of us want to see things done the way we want them to be done. You know, we're all either dominant or influence, pushed, where most of us are people that are in sales. Not everybody, but most of us are people. And it's fun to want to build a business that's around taking care of people. And trust me, I mean, those thoughts will always run through your mind. and I love what I do. I wouldn't be able to put up with it if I didn't like what I do or like the people that I deal with majority of the time. Everybody's got headaches no matter where you work. Mm-hmm. But I've thought about it. There's just, I don't know. There's still plenty of time for it too, as crazy as that sounds.
At 40, definitely plenty of time.
That's for sure. So if someone was to come to you and they're interested in getting a job either in wholesale or as a contracting business or, be an installer or service, what would you tell them?
What would I tell someone that was interested in it?
Yep.
No one can take away what you learn how to do with these, for one. Learning a trade is, no one can take it from you. If you want to get into it, I think in a lot of ways before you go to distribution, I think you should have some field experience because, and I think for guys that maybe they're tired of being in the field, maybe you should go to distribution. Because one thing that distribution lacks from time to time is people that have true real world experience that understand the perspective of the guy that they're talking to on the phone or that's pissed off at the counter or anything of that nature. I think it's very important that the guys can understand what each other's day-to-day is. So I think there's ample opportunity for both. I remember in October of 23 when I did the AHR Workforce Development donation with Prosper Career Academy in Chicago, which was probably one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to do. I never, starting this show, I never would have imagined I would have gotten to do something like that and go to an inner city school and donate equipment to try to change kids' lives. That's probably one of the most rewarding things I've done. And I remember there was, part of the presentation that I gave, and Dennis was there too, but part of the presentation we gave was I wanted to show kids that there's more to HVAC than just turning a wrench. Because I think what scares a lot of people away from this industry is thinking that the only option you have is spending your day in a work truck or in an attic or in a crawl space or being out in the elements. And unfortunately, that's not the case, but that's the way everything gets shown to people. And, there was this young girl in the front row and I was like, well, what do you want to do? What's your goal? She's like, well, I want to get into marketing. I was like, fantastic. I said, HVAC guys need marketing people too. I said, because we need people that work for a manufacturer that build brochures and run social media. Contractors need someone that's managing their social outreach and other different things and their path to market. I said, but if you actually understand what this trade is, think about the step up you have if you were to go market for it, because now you have a basis of understanding of what all of us do. It's one thing to just go to school, get a marketing job, and I'm selling soap or I'm selling whatever. But to be able to understand a trade and then go into a role where you're actually helping people learn to understand that trade, then you have a different perspective, because you can look at it and be like, well, what did I think about it when I was doing this? Maybe that will resonate with the person I'm trying to market to. And that goes for any of it. I mean, we need CPAs, we need customer service people, distribution and contractors need all the same jobs. Mm-hmm. It's just at a different part of the industry or the business. And people that understand it can transition into those other roles so much easier. And just like the contractor workforce is drastically dropping because of people aging out, it's the same in distribution. It's the same across the whole industry. So there's, the biggest thing is if you want to get into this industry, go and do it. But it's hard to do anything in it if you just won't be willing to go get your hands dirty for a little bit. You're going to have to. It's the only way to understand it is you got to go get in the shit and figure it out for a while.
No, 100%. 100%. So your podcast is known for having a little fun, getting to shoot.
A little bit.
What is one of your shenanigans over the last 5 years that kind of sticks out a little bit?
Ooh. What's up, trade crew? You've heard the buzz. You've seen the press gang at every single AHR. Contractors across the country are ditching their torches for RLS press fittings, and they're not looking back. Why? Because RLS lets you finish faster, safer, and cleaner. From rooftops to mechanical rooms, crawl spaces, and attics, it's a press-and-go solution that's leak-tested, UL recognized, and proudly made in America. Make the switch to RLS and take the heat out of your installs, literally. RLS, rapid locking system, press forward and press on.
He's got a drink on that.
Definitely got a drink on that. I think the majority of my shenanigans are when I first started the show. I used to post videos of me doing stupid stuff in the warehouse all the time. So like I had a video that hit, I don't know, it was probably the first thing I ever had on the TikTok channel back in the day that went anywhere. I think it got like 50,000 views. And I had set up a bunch of boxes of Flex, and then I was on a pallet jack screaming down the Flex aisle, and then I went slaloming through all the Flex on the pallet jack. And then I remember Trade Hounds picked it up at one point, and they blew it up for a little while, which was funny. And talk about an interesting app that doesn't get a lot of love, but it's also really hard to figure out how to use sometimes.
Yeah, I was on there. I'm still on there. I haven't been on it in a while.
I haven't either. I felt like it was run by the electricians.
Yeah, it definitely was heavy.
It was very heavy, Sparky.
It's very Sparky centric. But no, that was good. Gosh, a lot of it was just getting people to give crawl space confessions on the show. I've got some shows that I felt like the entire show was a guy giving his crawl space confession. Jason, my buddy Jason Holt, he's been on all of his shows were called he was the Ain't No Rest for the Wicked shows. And I could probably have Jason on the show every single week, and you'd never hear the same story twice. It never fails. I talk to that dude, and we'll talk for an hour, and I will hear stuff I've never heard him tell me, and I've known him for over a decade. He's one of the most interesting characters that I've ever met in this industry.
Dos Equis guy, huh?
I can't remember if he was Dos Equis guy or not. But he was, dude, he's fantastic, and he's such a good dude. I've met so many, I know you said it kind of at the beginning of this, like I've met so many good people because of this show. So many people that I never would have met, such as yourselves, which, like I said, you mentioned that at the beginning too, but I never would have imagined that I would have, a massive Canadian listener base either. That never crossed my mind.
Those guys are hilarious. I love them all.
I never saw that stuff coming. Never saw it coming.
Yeah. Jay, the doctor, and I always butcher Foodie's name, so I never say it. I refuse to say it.
Ilya Martinovich.
Yeah, I can't. I refuse.
I love him.
It. Oh, he's great.
Dude, I like that.
I just call him Foodie.
When I showed up at Tactical in Orlando, and like I looked over and like he was like ducked down behind something because I didn't know he was coming. Kristen knew he was coming, Like, dude, I freaking cried. Like, right there. I couldn't hold it back.
Yeah. He's a good dude. He was helping set up and stuff, and I got to talk to him quite a bit. He's a really good.
No, he's fantastic.
I mean, I've met, and just like you said, so many good people. Now there is some crazy ones out there. There's probably some that'll get you in trouble, but most everybody is.
No, there's some that'll get you in trouble. I will say that. But I've had. You also learn. You learn which ones that got your back too.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, there are a few more genuine souls than HVAC Doc. There are very few.
Yeah, he's a good dude for sure. So we're coming up towards the end. It's almost an hour. What do you look forward to for the next 5 years with HVAC R&D? I know you're doing some Boomies stuff.
So that's been fun. So I love Rachel Pleen up in Canada. Imagine that, another Canadian. She and I have a massive love for Formula One racing and HVAC. And one day I was just like, you know what? Why don't let's just have a show. We'll make a bonus show. We'll run it through R&D. This will give us an excuse to talk a couple times a month anyway. And, we did a really great job like the first half of the season. And then it was summertime, go, go, go. So then we missed like 4 months. We just put a show out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And basically we're like, well, here's all the ones we missed. And here's the few that are coming. But that's been a lot of fun. I think, being able to grow that with her and do some things is really fun. And I think, as the show grows in prominence, I want to see it be able to do more things for the trades, more things for the industry. I didn't start this show to pump my own ego. That's not what it was for. I started this show for everyday guys like us that we also, all the rest of us just want to know that there's a bunch of other good dudes that do this, a bunch of other good women that do this. And my show is always meant to be, if you've got a good story and you want to come tell it, microphone's open, bud. Microphone's open, sis. Come do it. Because the more we put out there what we do, and the more people that see that, the more people that are willing to do the same thing, the more people that realize that we live, in a world that can embrace the trades and we can be a good industry and we can be a positive to people. There's no negative stigma for being a tradesperson. There shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. We keep your world running.
That's for sure.
I want to see good come from it. Whether people know it's with me behind it or not. It's what I want it to do.
Nice. I mean, if you're putting, good people forward and you're doing it for the right reasons, you're going to be successful. I get caught chasing numbers, chasing this, chasing that, and then I'll get down on myself because I'm not where I think I should be or where I want to be, and then I'll get a message or there'll be a comment on one of the videos, and it reminds me that, I'm where I need to be right now.
Yep. And this, and it as well as I do, this can be freaking tough.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can get burnt and you be like, God, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. You get wore out, work's kicking your ass, then the show's kicking your ass, and you're like, oh, what am I going to do? But then you just like, I can't think of the guy's name that sings this new song, but it's that getting back up's the only backup plan you need.
Nice.
Like, I feel like that's such an anthem for trying to burn the candle at both ends doing this sometimes. But, it's you do it for the love of the trades. That's why we do this.
I remember when I first met you in person in Chicago, AHR, and we were in that back green room, and there was all kinds of stuff going on with you. And I just remembered just kind of the impression that you gave just when I was talking to you back there, and then having a better understanding of what was going on at the time, and then seeing you still perform and whatnot. I thought it said a lot about what you do and why you do it. So just wanted to say that without going into a lot of detail.
No, I appreciate that. And, it's whether something that sucks is going on or not, it's very important that you know what it means to be a professional in this industry. You can't let that other stuff stop you from doing the right thing or doing what's required of you at the time. You gotta just, and unfortunately I've had a lot of experience with things that we've had to go through, and with dealing with health issues and other different things in the family, that sometimes, dude, you have to be really good at compartmentalizing. And sometimes it's hard to say that, and sometimes people are like, don't get it, but you have to, because more people depend on you than just yourself.
Great.
Ooh, that thing was loud. So, yeah, I totally get it, man. When I started this, I never thought I'd be where I'm at now, and I am thankful for it 100%. The friendships, the fellowship. And, we've talked for 3+ years now. We've met in person outside of trade shows. We've met at trade shows. We'll randomly text each other. And it just shows that this industry, no matter what sector or side of it, there's a place for everybody.
There is.
I look forward to seeing you again, brother.
No, you guys too. And I think, the most important thing about what we do is whether you see me on a show or you see me on the street, I am the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do this to be somebody else. I did this to be me.
Yeah,
and that's what I hope anyone that listens to the show, anyone that meets me, spends time with me, knows that I'm just going to be me. I want you to appreciate me because I'm going to appreciate you being yourself. And, let's have a good time. Let's celebrate our successes. And that's right. Keep it real. Celebrate each other's successes. That's another thing. Be proud of your boys.
Mm-hmm.
I saw I read something that yesterday, it was either yesterday or today, that says 90% of being a dude is making fun of your friends to their face and then supporting them behind their back when they don't know it.
I love that.
100%.
That's when you know your friends. When you can give each other crap, but you got each other's back, that's when you know your friends.
Yeah. Last year at Tactical Awards, we were nominated for Podcast of the Year. You were as well. And then our good friend Brett Wetzel won it. And I was like, if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm glad it's one of my friends.
No joke. No joke. I know what it's like to feel that twice. Not this year. I'm curious who the nominees are this year. I was like, man, if it's gonna, what'd you say?
If you get on the latest version of Tactical Magazine, he actually listed all the nominees.
No, I hadn't looked at it yet. I just got the email today saying that the digital version was live.
He didn't say what they were nominated for, but if you know who they are, you can probably figure out some of them. So.
All right, well, dang it, now I got to go read.
Yeah, you got to scroll through. I don't remember the page, I'll just tell you, but scroll through. There's a lot of good information in there. Some good articles, some good write-ups, and some good people. It's another great episode. I didn't contribute this quarter, but I'm trying to get back online for next quarter and help out. So
I've got to get back to putting my articles out because I've been running the Ramblin' Rhino stuff. I'm so sporadic with it because I got taking enough time to try to do the show. I've not putting stuff together as much as I used to. I used to write all the time before I got into podcasting and stuff. I was a paid sports writer as a second job for years. And I did that for 4 or 5 years before I just was like, I need to focus on distribution for a little bit to really build a territory. And then years later, old COVID rolled around and then this whole mess started and here we are now.
Writing's fun. It's different. I never thought I'd like writing, but I actually enjoy it when you sit down and force yourself to do it. I have ADHD, so It's really hard hard to force myself to do it, but I always have
understandable.
I like to do blogs on the website, but sometimes I'll write a blog and then I'll run it by my HR department for the podcast, and it gets shut down pretty fast. So
I started listening to old shows for a little while, and then I was putting together articles kind of based on the older shows, just trying to bring some of that stuff up. Because dude, there's some funny stuff in some of those first episodes. The dang pig story, I think it's episode 2 when I talk about. We won't get into that, but dude, go listen to that. That's one of the weirdest friggin' service calls ever.
I don't have to worry about pigs. I have worked on some farms occasionally. They'll have a kitchen or something. It's something weird, but pigs.
Dang, I can't hear you, Pat.
My internet's being terrible. Oh. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down because my internet's about to crash again. So, everybody, make sure you support HVAC R&D. Check out Rhydon. I'm gonna link all his social medias and everything. But anything you want to tell everybody before we go? He's staring off.
No, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for all.
Absolutely.
No, it's really great talking to you. And like I said, I'm gonna link everything you have out there. I really appreciate what you've done. You know, you were one of the ones I listened to before I got started. I was like, yeah, I can do this, man. I can do this.
It's awesome.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
I didn't know that, man. That's awesome.
Nice.
Peace, everybody.
See you.
I hope you guys enjoyed that show. A big thanks again to Commercial Kitchen Chronicles for having me on. Pat, Jason, you guys are true pros. Pat, again, congratulations on all of your nominations and for really working hard to continue to push CFESA and all of the food service industry up and forward. Jason, keep holding it down there in Florida. You're crushing it, doing killer work behind the scenes in an industry that never stops. If you guys enjoyed this show, please do us all a favor. Please like, follow, review, and share both the HVAC R&D podcast and the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles podcast, and help us keep spreading the message of skilled trades, collaboration, and blue-collar brilliance. Please go make sure to also follow all the socials on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. You can find Commercial Kitchen Chronicles there. You can find Jason Latimer Facilities there. And as always, HVAC R&D across all platforms. Massive shout out to all the sponsors that continue to make these 2 shows possible. Refrigeration technology, trusted by techs everywhere, continues to push the boundaries with CKC. So thank you so much, Viper crew. R&D sponsors, LiveSwitch, DiversiTech, JPL Flex, RLS Press Fittings, True Nature Meats, and Dubby Energy. I couldn't do this without all you guys. So y'all know the drill. Keep bending pipes, setting the standard, raising the bar. Until next time, trade crew over brand, and always ramble on. Cheers, everybody.